Council meeting for Tuesday, August 18, 2026. My name is Mark Clark. I'm the mayor. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Please stand and join me in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Clark.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Pletka.
Here.
Councilmember Johnson.
Present.
Councilmember Neal.
Present.
Councilmember Crabtree.
Here.
Councilmember Delaney.
Here.
Councilmember Lopez.
Here.
All right, next item on our agenda is the awards and recognition for the August 2026 Yard of the Month. And this month's winner is Thomas McGugan and Patty Peterson. If you're in the audience, please step forward. I'll present you a certificate and a gift card to the human being. And we also got a cool yard sign for you there.
Take that.
All right, next on our agenda is audience participation. Is there anybody that wishes to address City Council on any item that's not on the agenda and/or of a public hearing? If so, please step up to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and please keep your comments to under 2 minutes. Hello, Leslie.
Good evening, Council. How are you?
How are you?
Leslie Turnage, Executive Director of the Evans Area Chamber of Commerce, and I am here because I have secured an opportunity with House District 50 candidate debate to bring it here to Evans. Both candidates have already agreed to do the event, and what I am here to ask Council for tonight is the space to do that, to donate the space over at the library. It will be a public event. It will be advertised. It will be about 4 to 6 hours long, considering cleanup and setup is what I'm thinking.
Okay. Well, anybody have any?
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Yep, I don't have any problem with it. We set up a time, coordinate it with staff, and yeah, we'll work that out for you.
Absolutely, wonderful.
You have a date yet?
October 1st.
Okay.
I'm thinking about doors opening at 5:30, commencing at 6 p.m. And I'm working out the details with both the candidates now. They're both either have toured or will be touring Evans.
Okay.
I would just, Ed Bull, City Attorney, I would just advise Council and Mayor Pro Tem that in giving a waiver out, the main thing would be to remain neutral in any other party after this that seeks the same or similar circumstance.
Awesome, thank you, appreciate it. All right, great, thank you, Leslie. All right, anyone else?
My name's David Goodman. I live over by the Sam's area in the neighborhood there. I've lived here for 26 years, paid my taxes for 26 years. I've had some major concerns with what's going on in this city here in the 26 years I've been here. There was one blizzard, the last blizzard we had when it was snowed in, I come home and spent my whole time off cleaning my neighbors and my yards and putting the snow in their yard. I left and didn't even get out of the state when I got a call from my wife that the city of Evans had put a fine on my door for the snow being on my sidewalk. And I couldn't understand how that could happen because I cleaned the sidewalks for the whole neighborhood. And they said they'd come in afterwards and plowed. I'd like to know what the easement and what the rules are about that, because I was told the easements is our sidewalks and we have to keep them clean. But when I clean them and I have to come back and get a ticket on my door, I just got a ticket on my door the other day on the hottest day of the year, tell me I had a few weeds and I had a dishwasher sitting out on my sidewalk that I hadn't got time to put into the trailer that I had in my yard to get. And I'm getting a little concerned about when they do this, they don't come up and knock on the door or ring the doorbell or anything else. They just come up and tape it to my door. And I think that's very unprofessional. I'd like to know what the city does when they decide to put projects in, and who has, what they do to talk to the people in the city of Evans about the projects that are getting done. For example, the sidewalks were being fixed on Anchor and 23rd, and they fixed the sidewalks, and less than a month later, they tore the sidewalks out to put in stoplights. To me, that is poor management and a waste of money. I've asked for the 26 years I've been here for a light to get in, and it took 26 years to get there because we have 2 schools on that street, less than 100 yards from that light. There's been 3 times I've almost got hit. They got the light there 26 years later, and I'm just kind of concerned about the way things are going in this. They build parks, and they put, but we don't have water to water our yards. I tore my yard completely down to dirt and saving money to put in artificial turf because it's the only way I can keep it up. I'm 69 years old and got pushed into retirement early because I wanted to get my knees refixed and ended with sepsis of the blood. So I can't work anymore. I'm a disabled, and I'm just don't know what, I'm at my wit's end. When they could, down on the corner of my neighborhood, I think it was last Thanksgiving or Thanksgiving before, they had the police out there shooting into the neighbor's house, and I don't know what, I never heard anything about, but they weren't there for it. It was my friend. I had to go down and ask him what had happened. They had something that they shot, flash bangs and all, and tore his house up. He's out of his house for a month. I think people should be acknowledged of what's going on. Just last week, my car, because I've been parked by my door to make it easier for me, I ain't got no grass, so it ain't hurting anything. But then I told I can't do that. I got to put it on the side, on the driveway. So I went out that night and put my car on the driveway, and I come back in the next morning, and I went out there, and my car had been broken into, and half my stuff been stolen out of it. So I'd like to know what the heck I'm supposed to do. You know, I got all these concerns and nothing. The first time I had it happen 2 years in a row when I first moved here, and I put in and told the police. They come up, and I never heard another thing about it. So what am I supposed to do? I don't see police officers coming through our neighborhood. The one time they ever come over in our neighborhood is when there's somebody getting arrested, or they don't drive through just to patrol. There's a house two doors down from mine. They have 6 vehicles, and 3 or 4 of them are parked on their lawn all the time. I park my them because I'm handicapped now, and I'm trying to get my yard fixed, but I ain't got $24,000 to put in this stuff and do all this stuff. I got to earn it. And when I get a note on my door, they're going to give me a $150 fine because I ain't went out there and pulled weeds. Where were they were out there when I was in my walker and bending over my walker and pulling my weeds? Where were they then? Because nobody could go by there then. Right after I got a hospital for 2 months, I went out there and was a walker and pulled every weed in my house. Again, I didn't know what I was going to do with the weeds because you guys taken away our fall cleanup and our spring cleanup, or we got to pay more money for it. What are we supposed to do as a neighborhood? You want us to clean weeds, and you come out and threaten us to give us deals, so I have to spend $150, $200 on kids to come around and pull the weeds that I can't do no more. And these are some major concerns that I've seen going on in this. I've seen parks get put up, and how they're watering that if we can't water our neighborhood. It's starting to concern me very much. I've lived here 26 years, and it just seems like it's going downhill instead of up. I got a ticket just before I got off the truck. I got a ticket for driving through Evans with a mud flap off of my truck. It fell off when I was coming back. I told the officer, "Hey, I'm headed to the yard now. I know it's off, but I got to get to the yard." He gave me a $50 fine for that. But I see pickups and cars all over the place with the tires sticking this far out from underneath the cars. I've lost 2 windshields over the 26 years from cars like that. And there is a law and an ordinance in this city and this county for they to be underneath the vehicle. If not, they will be tickets. Why truck drivers the only one to get them tickets? I like to understand all these concerns. I ain't expecting to get answers tonight, but I'd like to bring them up so you guys can think about them.
All right, well, thank you, appreciate
Okay,
it.
thank you.
All right, anybody else? All right, right, seeing none. All right, we will move on. Approval of the agenda. Madam Clerk, any changes to the agenda?
No, Mayor.
All right, I would entertain a motion. All right, I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda.
I didn't get a vote.
You did not get?
No.
Are you in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, that motion carries 7-0. All right, next item, consent agenda. Any discussion on the consent agenda? If not, I'd entertain a motion. Motion and second to approve the consent agenda.
Aye.
Okay, all right, that motion carries 7-0. All right. Next item, new business, item 8A, public hearing, consideration of a retail liquor store license for Evans Liquor LLC at 3133 35th Avenue, Unit B. I'll open up the public hearing. We'll hear from staff.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council. The city received Julie Barnett, City Clerk. The city received an application for a new retail liquor store liquor license from Mr. Francis, registered agent for Evans Liquor LLC. The application is for consideration of a retail liquor store to sell alcoholic beverages for consumption off the premises located at 3313 35th Avenue, Unit B. The City Council will be acting in a quasi-judicial role as the local licensing authority to consider the approval of this retail liquor store license. If the license is approved by council, the license will be processed and finalized with the State Enforcement Division. In council's role as the liquor licensing authority, the approval of a new liquor license must be based on the findings regarding the reasonable requirements of the neighborhood, the desires of the adult inhabitants of the neighborhood, and the moral character of the applicant. The license application was submitted for concurrent review with the city, which allows the state to process the application while the city is also considering the application. For the record, the following findings from the report submitted by staff have been determined. Notice of public hearing. The city received the application on June 29th, 2026 from Evans Liquor LLC for a retail liquor store off premises at 3313 35th Avenue, Unit B. The notice of public hearing on this matter was posted on the property and published in the Greeley Tribune on or before August 7th, 2026. The applicant is entitled to possession of the premises. The applicant has applied for a state sales tax license and city business and sales tax license. The selling of liquor in the manner proposed in the application is subject to zoning, fire, building, and other applicable laws of the city of Evans and/or state of Colorado. This property is zoned C2 general commercial. Liquor stores are considered a retail use indoor, which is a permitted land use in the C2 zone district. The premises where the selling or serving of alcohol will be conducted does not appear to be within 500 feet of any public school or principal campus of any college. There has not been within the last 2 years preceding the date of the application a denial of an application by either the state or local licensing authority for a retail liquor store at this location for the reason that the unreasonable requirements of the neighborhood and the desire of the inhabitants were satisfactory by the existing outlets. So the applicant conducted a survey within a 1-mile boundary of the premises to convey the needs and desires of the neighborhood. The petition returned 20 businesses in favor with 3 businesses opposed, and the petition returned 83 residences in favor with 4 residences opposed. There is one other retail liquor store within the 1-mile boundary of 3313 35th Avenue, Unit B, as well as these other liquor licenses within a 1 mile. There are 3 hotel restaurant, 1 retail liquor store, and 3 FMB wine, which are your gas stations. Attached to the packet was a memorandum from the Evans Police Department, which shows that no information was found when they conducted their background check on the moral character of the applicant. The applicant is here this evening and available for any questions you may have, as well as a representative from the company Liquor Pros that did the Needs and Desires survey. So the public hearing is tonight, so I'm available for any questions that you have, and the applicant is also here.
Great, thank you. Any questions of staff and or the applicant? If so, please use your request to speak button. All right, seeing none, I will ask, because this is a public hearing, if there's anybody in the audience that wishes to speak for or against this item, please step up to the podium, state your name and address for the record.
Mr. Mayor, Councilman, my name is Tony Belfiore, and I reside at 4615 West 21st Street Circle in Greeley. The reason why I'm here is because I own 3 commercial buildings in this town. I've owned one for 22 years, and that's where I started Naughty Pine Liquor. I'm the former owner of Naughty Pine Liquor. So when I went to get my liquor license 21 years ago, I had at least 300 signatures. At that time, most of the councils had never seen anything like that. So, and that was with a population of 15,000. Today, there's about a population of, let's say, 23,000. So you had 83 signatures. That's less than 0.4% of the population. So I guess to me, what that demonstrates is there's not a need. And I know when they're talking about, I've been in many of these liquor licensing, either for or against. And I know the biggest thing is the need. And that's why I'm here tonight, because I don't believe that there's a need for another liquor store when we have one within the proximity that Coral Bay is. Yeah, in my opinion, may be biased, but it's truthful. Yeah, I own the building where Coral Bay is. My sons own Coral Bay Liquor. But again, I don't think that even from the sketch that he showed, it shows that it's not, his building is not prepared for a liquor store. Yeah, they can do it, but it doesn't look to me like he has a lot of experience in the liquor business. So again, I'm just trying to tell the truth, and I'm trying to save him some money, because Coral Bay is a very well established, very clean established. Like I say, we've been paying property tax and collecting sales tax for the city of Evans for 22 years. So we have some roots here. And I guess the basis of what I wanted to say is the need. I think you need to look at the need. And I don't think that 83 signatures point to the need of another liquor store. So.
Great, thank you.
Thank you
Appreciate
very
it.
much.
Anyone else? All right, seeing none, I will close the public hearing and entertain any comment from council and or a motion. All right, seeing no comments, I would entertain a motion. Oh, was that?
Fred.
I'm just having to log in again.
All right, go ahead, Councilmember Neal.
I just needed to log in again. It
Okay, no
keeps
problem. Just go ahead.
kicking me out. No, I'm fine.
All right. So no,
Members of the authority, this is Eva Garrettson with Liquor Licensing Professionals. If you'd like, I can go through the process and procedure with the petition in order to address any concerns. But I am here if you have any questions, or I can just give what our process and procedure is that we conduct throughout the entire state of Colorado.
all right, I appreciate it, but we've already concluded the public hearings, and
Yes, sir.
so we're going to go ahead to a vote here. So thank you,
Yes.
appreciate it. Councilmember Neal, did you have any comment?
No.
All right, I would entertain a motion then. All right, I have a motion, but no seconds. So being that we have no second, that motion is considered dead. And no further action. Or did you, I see that you voted.
Yeah.
Okay. No second? All right, we don't have a second on this, so we cannot process the motion, therefore that motion does not pass. All right. So I guess that's a denial for the, since we have no second. I'll ask our city attorney. All right.
It dies.
Okay, that motion dies. All right. Thank you. Moving on to the next item, consideration of a development agreement with Mountain Cement Company. We'll hear from staff.
Thank you, Mayor Ed Bull, City Attorney. If I may brief the council from this position. I'll also rely on the Director of Engineering if for any details in regards to the roadway. But essentially, we're calling this a development agreement, but it's really a participation agreement for proportional costs to improve County Road 33 from the Mountain Cement Company property to County Road 46. It does not obligate the city to perform this improvement only in the event that the city were to appropriate and then budget money within approximately a 5-year period. It does allow for an extension, which is called a tail period of 6 months, to keep the agreement going, to allow for design and the build out, subsequent build out, if the city were to obtain funding from an alternate source, which we believe to be Mountain Tracks in the future, and then to fully fund the project. But at this point, again, the recommendation is to council to approve this. It is their proportional share of that improvement of the paving of that road. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Any questions or comments of staff?
Yes, Ed, can you remind me what the length of this segment is?
It's approximately 6,900 feet.
Thank you.
Since my request to speak is not up and I don't see any on the board, so it's seeing that there's no other questions or comments, I'd
We're
entertain a
having
motion.
some little technical
Oh, okay.
difficulties here at the moment.
No,
so-
no problem. Anybody else have any questions or comments while we're waiting? No? All right. I'd entertain a motion.
It's not giving me
It would
the
have to be-
option.
it would have to be verbal.
All right, we'll go ahead and do a voca vote. Okay, I have a, all right, I would entertain a motion.
I move to approve the development agreement between the City of Evans and Mountain Cement Company.
Second.
I have a motion, a second, to approve the development agreement between the City of Evans and Mountain Cement Company. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries. All right, next item, public hearing, consideration of ordinance number 869-26, accepting the public road right-of-way for MCC first replat. We'll hear from us. I'll open the public hearing and hear from staff.
Great. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Michael Hall, City Planner with the City of Evans. For your consideration this evening is ordinance number 869-26 for the acceptance of public right-of-way, which supports the proposed Mountain Cement Company minor subdivision first replat application. The second reading of this is scheduled for September 1st. This is a public hearing. The property owner of the subject land is Mountain Cement Company LLC, as represented by the EPS Group in attendance tonight. The subject right-of-way is depicted in the stamped survey exhibits A and B attached to this ordinance. For background, the City of Evans Community Development Department is processing the Mountain Cement Company first replat to their minor subdivision, which seeks to consolidate Lot A of RE 3237 and Lot 1 of the MCC minor subdivision into a single lot. So this is a lot consolidation replat. Both lots are annexed into the City of Evans. The proposed resultant lot will contain the pending MCC transloading terminal, which is under construction and permitted by a separate site plan. This replat and subject dedication of additional right-of-way is related to, but is distinct and separate procedurally from this MCC facility. In brief, the property owner requests to dedicate an additional strip of right-of-way being 10 feet in width along the full frontage of the property, lying west of and adjacent to the existing 60-foot of right-of-way for 47th Avenue, also known as County Road 33. This area has been previously identified as future right-of-way to be dedicated to the City of Evans per the Weld County Record Exemption Plat, RE6 15-0163, as recorded in 2015. This 10-foot wide strip to be dedicated is approximately 0.32 acres. The overall half right-of-way section being 30 foot lying west of the section line and that additional 10 feet is a total width of 40 feet is approximately 1.29 acres. While the existing half right-of-way of 30 foot is already public right-of-way, this ordinance formally accepts that entire 40-foot strip as dedicated in fee to the city of Evans. The replat application has been administratively approved, included this as a condition of approval for city council to accept the additional road wide right-of-way prior to recording the plat. Per section 18.03.100 of the Evans Municipal Code, city council is responsible for acceptance of additional city right-of-way. The subject acceptance of right-of-way supports this condition. The replat includes a statement of dedication for the rights-of-way with information on the city council ordinance. So just so you know the mechanism, city council is accepting the right-of-way. You are accepting it as part of the public road network. The plat is the vehicle where that right-of-way is officially dedicated. And so this ordinance would be referenced on the plat. There are no direct financial impacts related to the city as a result of this right-of-way. It's not necessarily a roadway. This is just the land where a road could be built. And for recommendation, staff has reviewed the applicable Evans Municipal Code sections, found that the applicant's request is consistent with the staff report with the 2015 recorded exemption plat, and staff recommends approval of this ordinance on first reading. Should this ordinance be approved on second reading, this is the final condition of approval for this replat, and the replat would move to recordation. Applicants present, happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Michael, appreciate it. All right, any questions of staff? All right, seeing none. Because this is a public hearing, I ask anybody in the audience that wishes to speak for or against this item, please step up to the podium, state your name and address for the record. Seeing none, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing and entertain any council discussion and or a motion.
Well, I'm glad to see this replat is clearing this up and consolidating this piece of land.
Seeing no other comments, I would entertain a motion.
I move to approve ordinance number 869-26 as proposed on first reading.
Second. I have a motion, a second, to approve ordinance number 869-26 as proposed on first reading. All those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries. All right, next item, 8D, consideration of resolution number 24-2026, designation of 4 automated vehicle identification systems, AVIS, and we'll hear from staff.
Good evening, council, mayor, and council. Randy Darling, chief of police. The Evans Police Department is requesting City Council approve resolution number 24-2026 designating 4 roadways as automated vehicle identification system traffic safety corridors. This is pursuant to CRS 42-4-110.5 and the Evans Municipal Code 10-04-119. The proposed corridors are 37th Street, 42nd Street, Prairie View Drive, 11th Avenue, and 35th Avenue. The police department completed a separate traffic safety assessment for each corridor using recent quantitative data, including traffic volume and speed studies, crash history, enforcement activity, hazardous driving incidents, and traffic-related complaints. Based on these assessments, staff has determined that each proposed designation is reasonably related to improving traffic safety. Approval of the resolution establishes the geographic areas in which AVIS technology can be deployed. It does not require automated enforcement throughout the corridors or authorize enforcement until all applicable statutory and municipal requirements for notice, warning periods, signage, equipment placement, privacy, data use, and program operations have been satisfied. Over the last few months, we've been working through this process. Our last meeting, we passed the ordinance for this process. These are the first 4 corridors that I will bring you that will provide different roadways throughout the city that provide the opportunity to utilize AVIS technology. And that technology is both a fixed location that will be out off of 37th and Palermo Drive, and the mobile unit that would be mobile throughout the community within these specific corridors. Identifying corridors is a requirement under the state statute for AVIS technology. This is step 1. We'll have additional corridors. We'll bring them to you in pieces. As you could see, The process for this was pretty substantial. We did quite a bit of data collection, quite a bit of radar use to bring as much data and quantitative information under the state statute as we could to this process, and to try to be as transparent and open to the public about what our traffic-related safety protocols are in the city. Each one of the corridors was evaluated on the same, similar, or identical standards. We used a methodology across all of the locations. Each one of those documents was provided to you for this hearing, or for this request under the resolution, and was provided each of the required data metrics under the state statute. And I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have on those.
Great, thank you, Chief, appreciate it. Any questions or comments for staff? Councilmember Delaney.
I didn't do that.
Oh.
I don't know how my name is on there.
Okay.
Thank you, Chief.
All right, seeing no questions or comments, I'd entertain a motion. Oh, Councilmember Johnson.
I have a question. One of the things I would like, if you can also just elaborate on the type of system it is, because I know many are concerned, as I have addressed concerns for other types, the ALPRs, but this is not. So if you can just distinguish the difference between this system and the other system.
So we have two systems that will be going into place within the city. One is a fixed location, and one is a mobile trailer. Both use ALPR technology, but it is not used in the same ALPR technology system that most concern some of the public is the flock system, right? The technology is very, very similar. The difference is live notification to law enforcement through the cameras, right? So with the cameras we're putting into the public in this endeavor, AVIS, right? They go into the streets. There is signage letting you know that the equipment is within 300 feet of the signage that's on the public way. We sign the roadways as well. And then if a vehicle is captured speeding within an area, there is a license plate read. And that license plate read is then eventually sent to the police department for confirmation of the violation of speeding. There isn't an immediate read of a license plate to tell us, hey, the occupant in this vehicle or the registered owner of this vehicle has a warrant for their arrest. There isn't data that's being provided to the police department that the vehicle may be stolen, or there isn't an Amber Alert or a senior alert associated with any of the plate reads. This information is read specifically to the radar detection device and whether or not someone is speeding within that area. And then the data is collected, correlated, and then anybody that was identified as traveling at 11 miles an hour or more over the speed limit is then identified through the license plate technology. We then verify that license plate against the registered owner of the vehicle, the make, the model of the vehicle, the color of the vehicle, whether or not we got a clear read of that license plate. And then that is brought to the police department for us to do a secondary check and determine whether or not that is an actual speeding violation, at which time we then identify that as a notice of violation and have the company send that out to the public. So there's no live read notifying the police department of any individual operating that motor vehicle, of any warrants, of any, whether or not it's a licensed driver, any of those factors. It's just simply looking at speed of the vehicles traveling through the corridors and being monitored by our equipment that's in the field. So very different than ALPR. However, it's similar technology. It's still a license plate read from a camera, right? And that's the similarity between the two. And that data is stored, so if there were a later investigation that were necessary, it would be for a law enforcement purpose, there would be an ability for us to go back and look at that data, but it's not being done the way the flock system is, where it's live notification, tracking of a vehicle, or a notification to the police that the vehicle's stolen, or any of those factors. If a vehicle went through one of these cameras that was stolen, we would get no notification. If a vehicle went through that was the registered owner had a warrant for their arrest, we would get no notification. Those type of notifications are not part of this system.
And I appreciate that explanation. I think in part the reason why this is happening is because our community has requested some type of measure to help with safety, especially with a lot of vehicles speeding, crashing into properties, putting the community in danger due to that. And so this is one of the things we're going to attempt to try to mitigate that for the community. So thank you for that explanation.
All right, I'd entertain a motion. All right, I have a motion and a second to approve, adopt resolution number 24-2026, designating the 4 traffic safety corridors identified in the resolution as automated vehicle identification system corridors pursuant to CRS 24-4, 110.5 and sections 10.04.119 of the Evans Municipal Code. Submit your votes. And that motion carries 7-0. Thank you, Chief. Appreciate it. All right, next item, consideration of resolution number 25-2026, proposed November 2026 ballot question for amendment to food sales tax use. We'll hear from staff.
Well, the information that I was going to put up is in your packet this evening, so it's just the ballot language that I was going to add to it. So, good evening, Mayor Clark and members of council. Brian Stone, Economic Development Director for the, City of Evans. I'm here this evening for the consideration of a resolution which would amend the permitted uses of the current City of Evans food tax. I want to start off by saying this is not a new tax. It does not increase the tax rate, and it does not change what is taxed within the food realm. Most of you are aware of what the food tax does, but it really generally applies to food purchased for home consumption. So that's your meat, that's your fruits and vegetables, bread, cereals, frozen foods, dairy products, and other grocery items. It does not include your hot prepared meals, tobacco, alcohol, thank you, or non-household food items. None of that would change within this ballot amendment. Just to give you a little history of where we're at and what we've done, back in 2002, the Evans voters approved ballot language for the use of food tax, and it was very specific of what it was used for. So parks and recreation, trails and walkways, streets and roadways, as well as traffic control measures. In the 2002 ordinance, so with the ordinance following that, there was language to include food tax revenue for economic development incentives. Somehow it didn't get in the ballot language, so it's not an authorized use currently for that. Then in 2021, we went back to the voters and asked them to amend this food tax for the use of the construction, design, operations of the Evans Police Station. Those will not change with this proposal. Those uses will still remain in place. What we're trying to clean up and add to that is really the operations that supports those 2002 improvements. So we have some operational needs that can go into that, as well as including that 02 ordinance where we have performance-based economic development incentives that can be used from this food tax to increase commercial development, other places for others to shop, as well as just provide other opportunities for our community. Again, remaining with our 02 and our 21, they'll still remain a priority as we move forward. So I did include, I want to make sure that everybody's okay with the language on it. We have met with Butler Snow, as well as internal legal counsel has reviewed this and helped us with the language as well as the resolution. So I'll give you a quick second to take a peek. I apologize, it's not very big, but it was included in your packet as well. But it is lengthy, but we really want to provide the transparency of what this is, what it's going to provide, and really what we're asking our Evans voters to decide on. And really understand that I look at this as a community benefit of adding these uses for you guys to make decisions on. So if the voters say yes, City Council would have the additional authority to utilize those purposes listed within that ballot question. That being said, everything still has to come to City Council for approval. So appropriations and approval will remain the same. It'll just be an opportunity for you guys to have a little bit more flexibility. The existing voter-approved uses in 2022 and 2002 and 21 remain in place. The tax rate remains the same, as well as the products that are being taxed. If there is a no vote in November, then everything remains the same. The 02 and 21 remain in place as is today. So we're looking for direction tonight to add this ballot question to the coordinated election with Weld County on November 3rd. As I mentioned, we have had legal assistance review this. And just to kind of reiterate, it's no new taxes, and it really provides you guys as City Council flexibility to look at other opportunities that we can bring in and incentivize and or use for operations for some of those improvements that we've done in the past. So with that, staff would recommend approval of the resolution, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
Great, thank you, Brian, appreciate it. Any questions or comments of staff? Actually, I do have a quick question. So this was originally proposed in 2002.
Yep.
It was supposed to be on the ballot, never got on there as it was intended to be. Ran out again in 2021, nobody caught it then. So the question is, as you said, they vote no. Where do we come up with any way that we can work any economic incentives for any major or future developments? Where did that come from?
Well, we would have to use, for the non-food related items. So we would have to look at other opportunities that go. We would have to, and really how this all got brought up is I'm working on an incentive policy for the city of Evans so we can attract new commercial development within our community. And this was identified. As I dug down further and stumbled upon a document, I noticed that this was not an available use. So that's why we're bringing it to you guys this evening, to expand your opportunities, to create that flexibility, to utilize these funds for, one, operations, but more importantly, incentives that we can bring additional commercial development to Evans.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I'd also throw out there, if I may, that there are other tools for economic development, but they're a bit more cumbersome. So there's TIFs, tax increment financing, that requires a URA. Brian and I have looked at that as to what that means for other areas of the community as we work on the build out of additional commercial economic development opportunities. And then there are other opportunities like PIDs,
Public improvement districts.
Public improvement districts. Thank you very much. Public improvement districts. But again, those things have to be, the city council has to be petitioned for those, and so they are a little bit more cumbersome. But those are just an example of a couple different alternatives that exist out there, but they do come with some nuances.
Absolutely. No, I mean, I agree with that completely. I mean, I just wanted to put it out there because what I wanted to reiterate is, in order for us to continue to grow and progress forward, we need these additional tools in order to help us draw more businesses in and be more competitive with our, neighboring communities. I mean, for a city like us to continue to grow, just like all other communities out there, they use economic incentives and all these incentives for these large businesses to come into their communities. So I just want to, throw that out there because I know a lot of people like to see a lot more retail in here, larger developments and everything like that. This is one of those tools that we would be able to utilize to lure them into our community and, and help them, be a part of our community. So I think this is a really good idea. I think this makes us really competitive, with other communities to draw in more businesses and everything. And, that money can go a long way to hire more police officers, put more staffing out in the street, for code enforcement, everything that we could utilize, infrastructure improvements, et cetera. So I really appreciate it. Thank you.
And one of the things that, pursuant to Brian's presentation tonight is This is an existing tax. This is not a tax increase. And this is the only tool that we have that is not a tax increase from where we're currently at. So that is, I think, one of the real valuable pieces of this is our tax rate is not increasing with the expansion of this opportunity.
No, absolutely. And if we're going to be a community that's going to be reliantly heavy on sales tax and have a very, small mill levy, this is a big, advantage for us to use this and a tool to go forward. So thank you. Appreciate it. Councilmember Johnson.
I am for this proposed ballot question. I have a question though. Granted, now if it passes tonight, do we have a marketing plan, like PR, or what are we doing? Is there a plan in place, I should say, to ensure that this passes?
After tonight, staff's hands will be tied just a little bit. I have created a fact sheet, if it does pass, that I will distribute to Cody for distribution. So that way, everybody at the front desk, customer service, everybody throughout our side that we can give the factual information that as much as we can provide. If from that point on, it's going to have to be residents and other people that are showing the support for this ballot issue. We will provide the facts, and that's what we can do. I apologize that we didn't get this in front. This all kind of stumbled across as I was hoping tonight I would be presenting incentive policies, but I think this is an important step to make sure our incentive policies align with what your guys' goals are as well as the city's for growth and how we can move forward.
I agree. I agree this is extremely important for our community, especially as, we methodically bring in new businesses. What's the deadline for like the city to speak on this? And the reason why I say this is because currently we have in our audience the executive director for the chamber. So if we can recruit, partners and stakeholders to help us, and I'm glad you're here today, so they can assist with this endeavor.
Can you speak to that, Ed, of when I know we have to have the ballot question to the county by the first part of September, but can you kind of guide us on that process?
Because there's typically like a deadline when it's like the city can't speak on it. In the past that has happened, so I'm just curious to when that is.
I don't have the exact timeline in front of us. We do know that the window is very tight.
So it sounds like September.
Yeah.
So we're good right now?
Once it's pretty much
it needed to go on and be approved tonight in order to make sure that we hit the ballot because of the fact that we're the IGA that we have with Weld County. So
The ballot needs to be certified with the county by September 4th, and then we still need time before that to actually do the Spanish interpretation and get that certification before we certify the ballot. So tonight was basically the last night.
Okay. So just kidding. No, thank you. Thank you, Brian. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Councilmember Neal.
Along that line, are we planning on mailing out the fact sheet before it hits the ballot?
I think we can look at avenues following tonight's approval and your guys' consideration for this. Once we have that, then we can look at avenues of promoting it to the factual information that we can provide.
Well, it definitely needs to be promoted, and we got a short period of time to try to convince the voters that this is needed to be changed. Originally, back in 2002, when this was passed or promoted, the mantra from the city council and the mayors back then was always, the development will pay for itself. And that climate has changed over the years to where you have to promote your city and its amenities to attract businesses. And I'm not entirely in favor of that aspect myself, but I realize that this is what people are doing in other communities. So I am in favor of trying to get this changed over. It's my understanding that by ordinance, they previous city councils have kind of added this to that, with that, and that's why we are now, because it was never put on the ballot, that's why we're putting it on the ballot. But I'm very concerned about the timeline, the narrow timeline to get this done and get the information out to the voters.
Yeah, like I said, I have the fact sheet already done, so we can start working. I apologize, it snuck up on us, and we think this is the best opportunity to move forward and the best time to do it. It really is, and kind of going back to the incentive, it really is performance-based. So none of that is additional cost to the city. It'll be a share back agreement more so than us paying.
It's just really unfortunate that we've discovered another thing that's should have been done 20 years ago, and have to try to correct it and submit it to the voters in a short period of time.
It is.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Neal. All right, not seeing any other additional questions or comments for staff, I would entertain a motion. All right, I have a motion, a second, to approve resolution number 2025 or 2025-2026, referring to the proposed food sales tax ballot question to eligible electors of the city of Evans at the November 3rd, 2026 coordinated election, subject to final legal review and any necessary non-substantiative revisions. And that motion carries. All right, next, report, city manager. Thanks, Brian.
Yes, Mayor and Council, just a couple things for you here tonight. In your packet, I have included a pretty lengthy city manager's update on various capital projects that we have. I just want to go over a couple of those with City Council tonight. First off, concerning the police station construction, the city has taken possession of the new Evans Police Department building. They began moving in on August 10th, got in pretty quick. We're in our second week of operations, of full police operations out of the new facility. With construction of the new facility substantially completed, the project has transitioned to renovation of the former space here at City Hall. That will be the expansion of the administrative offices, with that completion scheduled for December of 2026. Jumping down to County Road 394 culvert repair. That project has been awarded to Coyote Ridge Construction in the amount of $108,852.35. Construction is anticipated to begin on or about August 24th and is expected to take 2 weeks to complete, weather permitting. So should have that road opened up here in the near future. 49th Street Engineering Studies, that project has been awarded to JR Engineering in the amount of $109,420, with work expected to begin after August 24th. So $109,420. I know at first we were really unsure what that was going to cost, and then it was pulled down under 200,000. So $109,490 is a substantial decrease from where we initially expected these pre-designed studies to come in at. Ridge Pond Pump Station, the engineering team is currently working on the internal review for all aspects of the project to make sure that we have it properly scoped, after which time we'll get a RFP issued on BidNet by the end of August 2026. So that's coming up here just in a couple of weeks. Hope to have that out on BidNet for consultant selection. Updates on a couple of upcoming community events. We have Heritage Days scheduled for Saturday, September 19th, 2026. And then we have the Fall 2026 Community Cleanup Event scheduled for Saturday, October 3rd, 2026. That'll take place from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the First Avenue site. And Mr. Mayor, that's all I have tonight.
Great, thank you, Cody, appreciate it. All right, City Attorney.
Just briefly, Mayor, I continue to work with the city manager to one by one address issues that have come up, and we are very successful, I believe, thus far. Coming October, just to let you hear that in the municipal court, they're going to be adding an afternoon session for criminal matters, and they'll be writing traffic tickets in the morning.
Great, thank you, appreciate it. All right, moving on. Let's see, council discussion. All right, so I just want to let you know, be on the lookout for council in the next couple weeks. I'm going to be working with Julie Tempkowicz in HR to get the annual city manager evaluation out to you. And then later on after that, we'll, I know, our city attorney's only been with us a short period of time, but we'll just give them a preliminary evaluation, maybe about a week or two after that. So be on the lookout for those coming through to you or on your email. Other than that, that's all I have. Councilmember Johnson.
I just wanted to speak on the manager's report. I know we're in the midst of the 37th Street Light project. I just wanted to, this is touching on that subject, but not just the streetlight component. I know we had discussed previously, and this was some time ago, there was an analysis made for 29th, and there, although we couldn't place like a speed bump or a stop sign, we considered a street light there because it is really dark on Anchor and 29th. And so I just wanted to see if there's a possibility to add that to that specific project, just because I know it does take a year for us to order street lights. And I don't know if we can just add it to that. Granted, this is something I'm bringing up from previous council discussions that we had, just bringing it back to the forefront.
Yeah, I appreciate you bringing that back up. I'll coordinate with engineering, and then I'll get information out to the council on that.
Perfect, thank you.
All right, Councilmember Neal.
Well, first, Cody and Ed, are we having any luck looking at being reimbursed for the culvert repair?
So the culvert repair is an interesting situation. I actually went out with the director of engineering to look at it, and that made every bit of difference in the world. Essentially what you have is a situation where the culvert failed. You have an individual that essentially did dig into that. However, by law, the city is responsible for the maintenance of that culvert and the subsequent replacement once it fails. Maintenance, there is case law on it. So in this instance, there will not be any ability to recover any repair costs. So much time has passed to even determine what the amount of damage would have been done to the roadway to accurately go after it, plus the fact that it had already failed. So it's an unfortunate situation that should have been addressed a long time ago.
And I thought that it was technically the property of Dixie Water Company or something.
So Dixie was responsible for putting it in. The provider / owner is responsible for it and when it goes in, but once it goes under that roadway, it becomes the responsibility of whoever owns that roadway. In this case, it's the city, and it's maintenance that is required, and maintenance includes end-of-life replacement.
All right, thank you for that. The other thing I need to bring up is we received a substantial amount of information about someone wanting the quiet zone in the railroad again, and I just wanted to reiterate that there were 4 members here on this council that were engaged in that discussion about 5 years ago, and at that time it was just pretty cost prohibitive at $1 to $2 million per intersection, and the most effective thing that we could do would be to close 39th Street off completely. I note that CDOT has already recognized a problem area there and done something to mitigate it by closing off access to going and making turns southbound on Highway 85 at that intersection. I don't know whether the council would want to pursue maybe doing a quiet zone there. I know the railroads are very acceptable to closing off little used intersections or crossings, but it still would probably cost us $250,000 to do that. So I don't know whether there's any interest in that or checking into seeing what that would do, what the cost would be to do that at this time. But since it's been brought up by a resident on the east side again, I thought I'd bring it up.
I am not in favor of that. It's cost prohibitive. 1, 2, the railroads do not have to abide by any quiet zone, regardless if a municipality enforces one or not. Their federal railroads trump any state and municipal noise ordinance. If they feel that they need to go through and blow their horn, they absolutely have the right to do it. The railroads already made some progress in trying to mitigate train traffic stopping in larger communities such as Evans and Eaton and LaSalle, and not have their trains parked in those intersections for a long period of times by already closing some of the county roads, especially up past Alton Pierce, to reduce that. But they still can do that if they need to because of their work and rest cycles. I don't think we don't have the budget for it. The railroads don't have to abide by it. And it's cost prohibitive. I mean, my thing is too, you live in a community that's near a railroad, you own a house that you purchased that's by a railroad, and that's the unfortunate consequence of living near a railroad. You will have train traffic going through and they will blow their horn.
Well, I'm not looking at it so much as a noise issue. It's a safety issue because there's no lights there or a signal there at that intersection, and it's very little used because now you can only go north on Highway 85, but it's still a safety concern to me because there are no signals there or gates to indicate that a train's coming through there.
From what I recall, there weren't any significant accidents or injuries to pedestrians or anything. So for me, we have other issues we need to worry about, and I would rather put our money towards, the bigger issues that need to be addressed, especially on the east side, than shut down a street that some residents might get upset about. So for me, I can't get behind that, shutting down a street.
One resident too, but it's not multiple. So.
Well, I'm just saying, from what I understand, there were no big wrecks to bring it, make it worry.
I think the police chief or the fire chief said there were one pedestrian and one car over 26 years that he can remember. But so
anyone else? No. All right. Well, doesn't seem like there's any interest from the council on it. So well, thanks for bringing it up, though, Councilmember Neal. I appreciate it, though.
I'm just following up with what the resident said. So.
Absolutely. I appreciate that. Absolutely, 100%. So, all right. I'm not seeing any other things for council discussion. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and adjourn the meeting. Thank you, everybody.